My name is Ms. DeRaps, and I would like to welcome you to my flipped classroom. I am going to give you a brief introduction to what a flipped classroom is, tell you how it works, tell you why it works, and give you an idea of exactly how it's going to work in my biology classroom. So first, let's start out with the flipped classroom and exactly what is going on and what's going to happen with the flipped classroom. What is it that we are flipping? That's going to be the big question. What is flipping and what are we flipping? Well, what we're going to end up flipping is the classwork versus homework piece. Currently, in class, we do direct instruction, a low-level thinking skill, and ask the students to do that in class while the teacher is present. Then what we do is we ask the students to go home and actually apply the information, use higher level thinking skills without the teacher present. And then they come back to class and they have lots of questions, they can't answer it, and we take a lot of class time trying to go over what they were supposed to do for homework. What the flipped classroom is going to do is actually take and reverse that. Students will take and do the direct instruction at home. We will have quick video clips, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12-minute video clips that the students will watch at home through Blackboard or through YouTube. Students can watch these at home, take notes on the actual content of the information. So this is the low-level thinking skill, actually taking the information and putting it on paper and actually memorizing the information. Then what we're going to do is when the students come to class, we will take and apply these higher level thinking skills and actually take advantage of the higher level thinking skills in the classroom. So this is basically what we're doing, what we're flipping and how it's going to work. So for each piece of content, students will have a quick video to watch. Now, there are some great advantages to this process. Some of the advantages are that we can take and do some more differentiation in class time. Students are not going to sit in the classroom, lecture style, make it boring, and then not have the chance to actually apply the information. They're also going to have the chance to apply it in a way that works for them. For some of them, which have different thinking styles, different learning styles, they'll actually be able to take this information and apply it in class using their own style of learning and style of thinking in certain ways. We're also going to be taking less time to look at the concepts that students are readily understanding. Then we're going to take more time on those higher level thinking skills. Okay? In class right now, lecture style, students come in. A lot of times you have to say, okay, get out your notebook. You have to ask a student to get out their notes a couple of times. Then you have to say, okay, you two, you need to stop talking. Let's pay attention up here. And a lecture that should take 10 minutes ends up taking 30 minutes because you're managing the classroom instead of actually giving the information to the students. So now we're going to take this lecture style, we're going to pull it out of the classroom. So a 10-minute lecture will take 10 minutes if a student can just watch it straight through all the way. Now, this style also provides more time for struggling students, and the second piece which ties in, which is students can rewind and rewatch that information. So a student who is not understanding the information can go back and rewatch the lecture. A student who misses something, a student who is a little bit slower at putting the information on paper and wants to get everything down is going to take that time, is going to be able to take that time, rewind, rewatch the information. Students who are a little bit slower at getting that information can do this outside of class and take that little bit of extra time on that lecture. Those students who are slower, who are struggling, but who are afraid to ask the questions in class will actually have the extra time to be able to do this outside of class. Some of the other advantages are that it does free up time for inquiry, application, and collaboration in class. So students can apply the information through labs, through presentations, through putting together the information, and the teacher's there to say, okay, you're getting this content, but it doesn't get applied in this new way. So let's think about it in a different way. Or, your great idea, great thinking, that is the way it gets applied. So why don't we think a little bit further along the lines? Let's think of another way it can be applied. So the teacher can take and extend the information for the students who are getting it, can take and make it a little more concise for the students who need a little bit more time, yet they're all going to be able to get that application piece of it in the classroom. Students who are absent don't actually miss the instruction. This is a really big issue sometimes, okay? Between field trips, between illnesses, between sporting events, where students are pulled out early, things like that. Students are missing class all the time. And with this, students actually don't miss the instruction. They do miss some of the application pieces, but those application pieces are the pieces that build upon that content. If they have the content, we will build upon the application in class, and students can then take that application piece, you know, they missed it in class, they can take that application piece home, or they can, you know, possibly get it in the next day or two that we're actually applying it in class. Another big piece here is parents can actually view the instruction and the content. One of the biggest things that we see with parents is that students are learning things that the parents learned 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and they don't remember it because they don't apply it, don't use it every day. As you take a look at this content, as you take a look at these videos, the parents can actually understand the content, can help understand the content, can understand the process of things, and with that, this helps the students because the parents are now understanding also. We didn't get the content in class, and then the student goes home and tries to apply it, and they can't apply it, and they ask the parents, and the parents can't remember how it was done, you know, 15 years ago, so they can't help the student either. With this, we're doing just the content outside of class, and we're applying it in class with the teacher, so that building block on the higher level thinking skills is something that the students will get. Lastly, and I did point to this a little bit earlier, was that these videos will take 10 minutes to do, maybe 12, maybe 8, okay? Students who go through it all the way, right away, get it, don't need to rewatch it, takes 10 minutes to do one of these lectures about, okay? In class, a lot of times, that takes 30 minutes of class because instead of actually just giving the content and giving the information, I have to sit there. We have to wait for everybody to write down the information if they're not getting it. We have to answer questions, we have to manage, we have to do all of these pieces in the classroom. I start asking questions based on the content in this style because we're not getting there, and then the students don't have a chance to comprehend the content before they have to answer the questions about it. So with this, we're gonna take it just and do the lecture with 10 minutes of time. The content piece is their home piece, and then the application piece we actually bring to class and do in class and actually do those applications. So, just a brief piece, the new homework is now going to be watch the videos and to complete little application pieces of notes. It's not going to be actually applying the content. It's going to be more like a notes page, taking down the content. What don't you understand? What are some questions you still have? Students will come to class. We'll start answering those questions. So the new classwork is going to be address the questions from the content, okay? Address the questions from the memorization, the rote memorization piece, the vocabulary, things that the students are not understanding, but a lot of those will be addressed in the application. Students can start doing some inquiry-based things, so actually taking and looking at the way things apply to the real world, answering questions based on the real world on this information, And yes, I know I added application again, but that's the big piece of this, is that we can actually take and apply the information. When you use the information, you remember the information. So if the students actually use the information in class, they will actually be able to remember it for the end of course exam or for any other test. So this will hopefully help with the remembering of the information, because then they're able to apply it. So finally, a couple of things, a couple of questions that I know will come up, and I'd like to address them right away. The first one is, what if we don't have the internet? Well, there's a couple of things with that. First of all, video clips are short. Before school or after school, the library here at school is open, so students could go into the library, could use the library to watch these videos, and then to answer their notes pages. Second piece, the library, the town or county library that is right down within walking distance of the school actually has 2 very large computer labs that can be used. So students could go to a public library to use the computers there and be able to get these videos. Some other things, you know, I know plenty of people have friends, plenty of people have the little smartphones, and I'm going to post these videos both on Blackboard and on YouTube. So if you can't get access to Blackboard because it doesn't work through your smartphone, you'll still have access to YouTube. So if you have a smartphone, you can watch the videos off of the smartphone on YouTube. And I will give the students the YouTube channel that I do use. What if students don't watch the videos? Well, if students are not watching the videos, what they're going to end up doing is they're going to end up having to come to class, sit in class, do some book work that relates to getting the content, and then once they do the book work that relates to getting the content, then they can start applying the information and doing that in class. Students will be grouped both based on in class their understanding of the information. So each lesson, they're going to be taken and grouped in different ways, because one student might really get this one set of content, but then the next piece of content they're not getting and they need a little bit more help with it. So what this is going to allow us to do in the classroom is actually take those students that are getting it and they can go ahead. They can apply the information in a better way. Those students that are struggling will take and get more direct one-on-one instruction with the teacher, which will then help the teacher to get all students understanding the content. Okay, those students who are understanding it aren't just going to sit here and do work for another class, sit here and be bored and sit here and start goofing off and causing trouble because they're bored. They're going to have other things to do. Okay. How can parents become a more integral part of the team? One of the things, parents, is that you can sit there and you can monitor a lot better your student watching the videos and answering the questions on the videos than you can applying the content. Okay? I've had a lot of questions this year based on, I don't understand this, I can't help my student apply this, I can't help them with the homework, what am I supposed to do? Well, this is where this is going to be more helpful too at home. Because if you are not understanding the information, you can still take and help your student, because you cannot help them understand the content instead of actually taking and helping them apply the information. For more information, you can always feel free to email me. My email down here at the bottom, jlderaps@mail.clay.k12.fl.us.